Hello guys, and welcome back to the False Nines YouTube channel and a Scenario Sunday video. Bit of a different one this time, but a little bit special because we're now into July, which means that everyone has now officially released all of their players. I've been saying I'm going to do this for a while, and here it is. People have officially released players now, so we have a bunch of players that are free agents. I was going to try and do this with the new Marshall update, but it would be too complicated because that in itself is editor data, so you just be adding to that and it gets annoying. So I've had to use the teams from this season, so people like Gerrard and that will still be playing for Liverpool and things like that. So I've had to do it for this season, really, this past season. West Ham have no manager. That is because the manager of this team I've made, well, I haven't really made it, but I have, is Sam Allardyce. So without further ado, I present to you Freebie FC. I edited Queen's Park Rangers and sort of made it so that their place was taken by Freebie FC. If there's any QPR fans, I'm sorry, but you finished bottom of the league, so it's you that get replaced, I'm afraid. That's just how it is. So Freebie FC is a 25-man squad of players that are now free agents. I don't know if there's been any news about them signing for new clubs recently, but as far as I'm aware, these 25 players are free agents. 4 people that are free agents didn't make the team. 2 goalkeepers, Ben Amos and Brad Jones. Andy Wilkinson of Stoke and Jos Højveld of Southampton, who was on loan at Millwall this year. They didn't make the grade. And also players that have moved to new clubs on free transfers, such as like Milner, people like that, won't be in this. And furthermore, players that have retired. I believe Michael Duff retired. I know Brad Friedel retired. And Steve Harper, people like that. They're also not in this. So let's have a look at the squad. 25 people in here. Now, unfortunately, because it's a team and it's QPR have a under 19s and reserves, that does mean that there are greyed out players in those ones. So it'll just be the senior squad, I think, unless there's anyone in the under 21s. Anik and Garvin are there. And Upson and Gutierrez. So there should be 21 here. Yeah, so we will ignore the greyed out players and we'll have a look at them. So, good, my cursor's frozen. Good start. Come on. Seriously? Here we go. Okay, so let's look at the 3 goalkeepers first of all. Now, first up we have UC Laskinen. Of course, this team is going to be a bit aged because these guys are free transfers. And I don't have a lot of the attributes here. It's all ranged. And I can't work out how to just get attributes. I don't know how to do it. But yeah, Laskinen, 39 years old, was released from West Ham this season because West Ham have Adrian as their first choice goalkeeper. Don't know who their backup keeper is. I assume he's the guy that played the other day in that Europa League game. Jaskalainen, 39 years old, he can still do the job, and I'm expecting him to be playing most of the games this season here, I think. Gerhard Trimmel will be, I guess, the number 2. Was released from Swansea, as they now play Fabianski in goal. Yeah, again, he can do the job, Trimmel. So I think, you know, it could be a toss-up between him and Jaskalainen as to who plays more games. As far as like young backup, we've got Jack Anik here, who played for Newcastle before. Actually played a few games in the league for Newcastle and actually did quite well. I think he saved a penalty in one game. So yeah, he's in the under 21, so I'm not really expecting him to be playing any games unless they do have an injury crisis in goal. Moving on to defenders now. As far as right backs go, we've got Guy Demel from West Ham, 33 years old. Well, used to be at West Ham. Been capped a fair few times for the Ivory Coast. Don't know if he's actually retired as a player from them or not. Aged 33. But yeah, this is Guy Demel. And the other one is Glenn Johnson, formerly of Liverpool. He was released this season. You know, of course, now Liverpool have signed Nathaniel Klein. They've got Flanagan, even though he's a long-term injury. They've got Wisdom, he could play at right back. They've got Manquillo, but apparently his loans are going to be cut short. So they have right back options, and Glenn Johnson was released. We also have Ryan Taylor, who can play right or left back. Former Newcastle player. Of course, he was plagued with injuries in his career, and he was out for 15 months with cruciate ligament injury. Yeah, injury plagued career for Newcastle. Paul McShane, 28-year-old defender, formerly of Hull. Mainly plays as a centre-back, but he can also switch to the right if need be, but I don't see any reason why he need to do that, as we have 3 right-backs, really. I think he's a very good player, actually, McShane. I rate him quite highly, actually. Irish. So, yeah, I like it, McShane. Moving to left-back, we have Ryan Taylor who can play on the left. The only other one that was really available, who is a free agent, is Mina Figueroa, who, of course, played for Hull. And that was after playing for Wigan. Honduran left-back. We've got a few more attributes of him for some reason. I don't know why that is. But, yeah, Figueroa. So he will be our first choice left-back almost certainly. Moving into a few more centre-backs here. We have like 5 centre-backs really. Antolin Alcaraz from Everton. Paraguayan centre-back. Well, he played for Wigan previously as well. I'm expecting him to be a first choice centre-back. The other one will probably be Ron Vlaar, who was released from Villa, and I'm amazed that nobody has got him yet. He's a Ron Vlaar, very good defender. 31 caps for the Netherlands, still plays for them as well, I think. Yeah, I'm amazed no one's actually got him yet on a free. Other centre-backs, we've got Matthew Upson here. Used to play played for Leicester. 35 years old. Career coming, close to its end, I think, here. Upson had a few caps for England. He got a couple of goals, of course, one of which was in that defeat against Germany in 2010. And then the other one, Richard Dunn, 34 years old from Queen's Park Rangers. He was released. Might be our captain, but I think he might be like a vice captain for this one. I've got a fair idea who the captain of this squad will be. So moving down now, we're heading into the midfielders. And here we have Joey Barton, released from QPR, one of a number of players released from QPR. And there's a fair few Hoops players in the squad as well. I think there might be 5, maybe even 6. Barton, 31-year-old. So yeah, he was I think he was a QPR vice captain or captain or something. I can't remember if it was him or Dunn. But yeah, Barton. I don't know if he'll be starting in midfield or not. I'm not quite sure. But in terms of behaviour, I think it has gotten a bit better recently. Has Barton's behaviour. Not expecting Owen Garvin to be getting in the games. Came in, was released by Crystal Palace, 26-year-old midfielder. And he's just there to fill the gap, I think. Don't think he'll be getting any, little or if any game time. Wilson Palacios, another central midfielder, came from Stoke, 29 years old. Another Honduran, the second in this team. And I think he's okay. So I think it's going to be difficult to determine who actually starts in midfield. But we only have 3. So I've got I think I know the formation, because we don't really have a lot of wide options. So I'm expecting the formation to be maybe a narrow diamond, or maybe just like a 4-3-3 or something. I'm not quite sure. And then so the only other central midfielders we have Abu Dhabi, who was released from Arsenal, 28 years old. Another player whose career has been plagued by injuries. I mean, just look at that list since 2008. 10 injuries, and isn't a current injury as well, only for a week. But yeah, not good for him. And then the only other, we have a central attacking midfielder in Stephen Dobby, who came from Crystal Palace, 31-year-old Scottish midfielder. If we're going to go with a narrow diamond, then I guess this guy would be starting games because he would be playing in the hole. But we'll see what formation they play. Wide options, we only have 2 really. Sean Wright-Phillips from QPR, 32 years old. Plays out on the right wing, so we can play as a right midfielder or a right attacking midfielder. And if we are going to go with wide options, we only really have 2. The issue with this squad is that we can't stop them making loan signings. I've disabled the transfer budgets, but we can't actually stop them from making loan signings. So I'll probably only make 1 though. I think I did a test run with this, and they only made 1, and that was Nick Powell, I think. So we've got Sean Wright-Phillips for the right. On the left, Jonas Gutierrez, 31 years old, left-sided midfielder, Argentine. Released from Newcastle. He's a real, it was a big story, big success story this year as far as his personal life goes. Of course, he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. He beat cancer. He got back into the team, and then Newcastle repaid him by giving him, in the same phone call as Ryan Taylor, giving him his marching duties and saying that your contract is not going to be renewed. So, yeah, real class act, Newcastle. they released Gutierrez and Ryan Taylor in the same phone call. So it was like, hey, Ryan, just to let you know, we are not going to be renewing your contract this season. Can you just pass the phone to Honas for me? I know he's there with you. Hi, Honas. Yes, it's Mike Ashley here. I don't know if it's him that makes the calls or not. We're just telling you that your contract will not be renewed this year. Great. Class act. So yeah, enough about that. Yeah, that did make me a bit cross. So that's midfield done, really. So all that remains is we've got 6 strikers. We'll start off with Shola Amiobi, who played for Newcastle for a lot of his career, moved to Crystal Palace this season. Well, we also moved to this Gaziantep team in Turkey. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he went on to Crystal Palace, and now he's been released. So he's one of our strikers. Bobby Zamora from QPR, 33 years old. He's another striker that we could be using. Carlton Cole came from West Ham, 30 years old. So we've got Cole here. This guy will be our captain almost certainly. Didier Drogba, 36-year-old striker. He will be our captain. Released from Chelsea. Career close to an end now. And he's going to be our captain almost certainly, I think. 2 more. Younger options here. Our 2 youngest players in the team, I think. Yannick Sagbo, on a free transfer, came from Hull. And yeah, he will be... he could be a young option up front. Could partner Drogba if we are going to go with maybe a 4-3-3 or something. So yeah, I like this guy, Sagbo. I think he's pretty good. And lastly, John Guidetti from Manchester City, played on loan at Celtic this year. 22 years old, by far our youngest player in the squad. And I think he's a decent striker. He's not terrible. So we'll see what happens with him. So that is the team. So what we're going to do now is we look at the league table. So as you can see, this is this past season's league table. So you've still got Burnley in here, and you've got Hull. So yeah, I've just used Freebie FC. Still got QPR's badges and everything. I've got Sam Allardyce as manager because Sam Allardyce is also a free agent. He was released from West Ham. His contract was not renewed. There was talk of him going over to the Leicester job actually after Nigel Pearson's sacking. I think he's one of the front runners, as is Neil Lennon from Bolton. So, but the backroom staff, if we can see that, the backroom staff is still QPR's. So Les Ferdinand's still there. Chris Ramsey is now assistant manager because he was taken out as manager. So it's still got QPR's backroom staff and still got the same guys up top. Tony Fernandez still there. So that's all I've done really. So it's just going to see how they do in the league. If they do make any loan signings, I can't stop them. So that's it really. So let's see how they do. The first game of the season is away against Southampton. I'm just gonna holiday the whole year and see how they do. I'm only going to be doing 1 year as well. This isn't going to be one of my usual experiments where we go all the way to like 2019 or whatever. So we're going to go on holiday all the way to May 2015 and see if they can stay in the Premier League, see where they finish. I'm predicting that they'll finish around 14th, 15th. Something like that. I can see them surviving, but I don't think they'll get anything past. I can't see them getting into mid-table. I think 14th, 15th would be kind of a realistic estimation. So here we go. Alright, it's the 31st of May 2015. As you can see, Freebie FC finished 8th place. A lot higher than I expected them to. Played 38 games, of course. Won 15, drew 5, lost 18. So I think not many draws, but yeah, a fair few defeats in there. Scored 55 goals. Goal difference is -11, meaning they conceded 66. So didn't score a great deal of goals actually. Where did they actually finish in terms of that? Around the middle, which is to be expected. But they lost quite a few games. 18 games. Yeah. So that's it. Let's see how the results actually fell. So let's have a look at this. So pre-season they did really well. They won all but one of their games, and they were unbeaten in their first 5 league games. First points dropped were away against Everton. They beat Man United at home. That's a big result. Yeah, some silly home defeats in there. They lost at home to Burnley, Newcastle, Man City. Got knocked out of the League Cup in the 3rd round by Arsenal 2-3, which is, they scored a couple of goals. Ramsey scored in the 90th minute, so a late winner to send Arsenal through and knock them out. Poor run here at the end of November and into, well, they did not win a they scored 1 point in December and that was it. And that was a draw at home against West Brom. A lot of defeats in there. And again later on here, that's 4 defeats in a row there. And they also got knocked out of the FA Cup in the third round. In replay against Ipswich, they lost 2-0 at home. And going a bit further down, they lost a lot of games, but they won quite a lot. They didn't draw a lot of games, so I think that's where a lot of their points come from. And if they'd have got some points in some of those games they lost, then Freebie FC could be pushing up to the European places, maybe. Good to see. So yeah, didn't do great in the cups, but then, well, wasn't really expecting them to do really good. And their draws were quite tough as well, to be fair. But yeah, some poor runs in there. Let me just see who was... Allardyce is still the manager. Didier Drogba, as I expected, was named captain. Ron Vlaar was named vice-captain, so that's good. Right, let's have a look at tactics. So they played 4-3-1-2. I wasn't sure if they were going to play diamond, but they didn't really have a deep-line midfielder. So their first choice 11 was... They actually went with Tremor in goal. Played the most games. Let me see if we can put league stats up or something. No, that's custom. We can't really do custom. First choice left back was Figueroa and Johnson was the first choice right back. Alcaraz and Ron Vlaar were the first choice centre back pairing. Midfield of Diaby, Palacios and Barton. Abid was a loan signing. I should have actually mentioned that I wasn't sure. I don't think I did disable transfer budgets for the first season because they did sign a couple of players on full contracts. They didn't play a lot of games. One was Gary Hooper and the other one was Siv Shabalala. And the other two signings were two loan signings, Nick Powell and Mehdi Abid, who you can see there is playing in the hole behind Didier Drogba and John Guidetti. And then other players that played the bench usually was Jeskalainen, Paul McShane, Garvin, didn't really expect him to be playing a few, Sagbo, Sean White Phillips, Richard Dunn and Jonas Gutierrez, and then these guys didn't really make the grade. So yeah, that's it. So let's have a look at the senior squad. We'll have a look at all the stats. So league stats, here we are. So Didier Drogba involved in 36 games, 34 starts, 2 from the bench, scored 20 goals, 2 assists, 6 man of the match awards. Not too bad. Ron Vlaar played a lot of games. We've seen the first choice 11 really, so we'll leave it at that. In terms of goals scored, Drogba got 20 goals, and that must have put him close to the top scorer. Okay, well, it says 19 there. Make up your mind. By the way, he was either joint third or the fourth highest top scorer behind Diego Costa, Sergio Aguero, and Radamel Falcao. So now it's changed to 19. Not quite sure why. Sagbo got 9 goals as well. Abid the lone signing got 5 goals. Vlaar got 3. There actually wasn't a lot of goals scored. As I said, only 55. So yeah. Looking at assists, Minor Figueroa had the most with 7. Abid had 5. Barton had 5. Nick Powell had 4. He was involved in 24 games. In terms of man of the match awards, Drogba got the most with 6. Pass completion rate, Alcaraz with the best pass rate of 88%. Matthew Upson also scoring over 80, even though he was only involved in 15 games. Richard Dunn made the most tackles in the game. Well, in the games he played. 6 tackles a game. In terms of like the player that played a lot of games, Vlaar with 34 games got an average of 4.34. Dribbles, well, Shabalala only got involved in 2 league games, but dribbles were like 4 per game. Shot on target ratio, Garvin and McShane was on target with every shot they made, but they probably only made a handful. Yellow cards, this could be fun. Barton, 11 yellow cards and 2 red cards, which actually isn't terrible, but 2 sending offs. Figueroa had the most yellows with 12. So discipline-wise, I think they were okay. Red cards, there were 5 red cards in total. Barton got 2. Figueroa, Diaby and Sagbo got 1 each. And average ratings, I don't think anyone scored over 7. No, they didn't. Drogba was the highest with a 6.99. So that was a bit of a surprise, actually. Who else got high? Figueroa got 6.89. Upson 6.84. Jeskalainen 6.83. So yeah, I think player-wise, they didn't really have a standout player. Drogba got 19 goals, but there's a lot of players around the 6.6 rate, which is, well, below average, really. 6.7 is what everyone starts on. So I'd say below 6.7 is, well, below average, isn't it? Ryan Taylor 6.49 average, which isn't very good. And there's even lower than that. Look at Garvin, was only involved in 7 games, but 6.23. Gutierrez 6.29, McShane 6.35. This is not actually good viewing. I don't like this. It's not good. And then somehow with these ratings, which are, well, to be honest, quite low, Freebie FC finished in 8th place. So yeah, that's it really. There's the rest of the table there. Liverpool won the league on goal difference ahead of Man City. United and Chelsea round out the top 4. Arsenal miss out on Champions League and they only finished 5th. Ahead of Spurs, who finish in 6th, 8 points behind. Newcastle 7th. There's Freebie FC in 8th. Everton and Palace round out the top 10. And you've got Villa and then Leicester, Stoke, Swansea, Southampton, West Ham, West Brom, Burnley and Sunderland all on 38. Hull finished bottom on 36. So down the bottom, very, very close. I think that is all there is to look at, really. So yeah, we'll leave it there, I think. We're not going to do another year with this. It was just 1 year to see how they do. And they did very, very well. 8th place is very good. Despite a lot of their players actually not performing very well. But never mind, it's good. So that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully it's a shorter Scenario Sunday video, because ones in the past have been kind of long. I will try and do a Scenario Sunday video next week, because from a week today, which is Sunday of course, I actually won't be in work for a week. So, and also I'll have the house to myself, because my parents and my brother are going on holiday without me for the first time, because I decided I didn't really want to go with them this year because I'm a bit old for it now. So I will have a week to myself where I can hopefully record a lot of videos for this channel and for my other channel. So we'll see what happens with that. So next week, if I am going to do a Scenario Sunday video next week, it'll be returning to Lyon and seeing how they do after I leave the club. So if you didn't see, I won the league with Lyon and I've just finished my 4th and final season with them. I could be moving on to Valencia. I got offered a job at Valencia. And I'm just not sure whether I should take it or not. But what I've done is I've gone up to there and I'm going to resign from Lyon, maybe retire as a manager. I'm not sure if I can still progress on holiday if I'm retired as a manager. But if not, then I'll just resign and be unemployed. And we're going to holiday a bunch of years and we're going to see if Lyon can continue the success that I gave them by winning the league. We're going to see how their regens do. We're going to see what happens to some of the older players when they retire. Do they become coaches? Do they become managers? I'd like to see like a job on Football Manager where it says pundit or something. Like Jamie Carragher would retire from FM on FM, and then his job would be pundit. You wouldn't be able to actually employ them, or you can employ them as a coach, but it would say they're a pundit. That would be quite a nice thing to see. It'd be quite funny actually, but never mind. It probably won't happen. So yeah, if I'm going to do an experiment next week, it'll be looking at Lyon after I resign, seeing if they can continue success. So that's it really. As for today, that's going to do it. So well done Freebie FC, finishing in 8th place. So tomorrow, Monday, I'll be starting my brand new series. If you haven't seen, it's called In Bruges, and it's going to be a save with Cercle Bruges. We're going to see if we can get them back up to the top league in Belgium. Because I'm using the LFC Marshall update, I can start from where they got relegated to, which is the 2nd tier of Belgian football. And we're going to see how we can do, see if we'll get them up to the top, see if we can sort of continue and sort of do the Cercle Bruges Club Bruges rivalry at the same level. See if we can, try and take back the city of Bruges, turn it green and black again. And I suppose one of the goals of it would be to do the double over Club Bruges at some point. So yeah, that's going to be starting tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, that's going to do it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.